All right. Okay, so first of all, literal milliseconds before this, I was like, "We're ready?" Producer Courtney, she's like, "We're ready." And then I don't even know what the champagne glass like smacked against. I have no idea, but the whole thing broke. It all fell. Courtney's like, "How do you break so much glass?" I'm like, "I don't know." And there is a rogue piece of champagne stem missing. I went stemless. We're drinking out of stemless glass now. I don't know where the other piece is. And I say to her, I go, "That's okay. I'm sure I'm going to wait, hold on. Nope. That's dust." I said to her, "It's fine. I'll find it when it's like in one of my goddaughter's infant feet, probably. That'll be great." And Mike and Taylor will never let them come back over. We are going to break down a couple things. We're going to break down, guys, we're back in my living room. We're in my living room and kitchen. And here's the thing. I got all new furniture. We'll break that down with my accountant later. Not with you guys. Can't tell you guys how much I spent on this shit because it is just stupid that I just always want to redo my living spaces. I'm like, you know what we should do here? Something totally different. It's like, how about you just get furniture and then fucking keep it for a while? That's a crazy concept. So I tried to get stuff now that's less like crazy, cool, eclectic and more like warm and homey. And anyways, trying not to destroy it. So I just realized I'm drinking champagne and Red Bull, not mixed together, but just one after the other. So that's the vibe we're on right now. So we're going to break down Stagecoach. Okay, so first things first, I'm gonna set the scene. So we love Shenanigans. We were asked to go with them. They were like, "We have a house here. We'd love to like get some Moo content and also just like have a fun time." That's what I love about a brand. It's just like, let's knock out some work, but let's also like have a good time. And Moo is a good time brand. They're just fun. Everyone that works for the company is fun. Anna Grace and I have gotten to know a lot of the people that work for them, and just like, I couldn't say enough good things about them as a whole. And it's just so much easier to support a company when you like love the people that work there. For instance, this bra I'm wearing is from Florida Mall. I'm sure the people that work there are great. I can't really assume. I don't technically know them, but like, love their brand, love the titties in this top. But like, what if I didn't love the people that ran the company? It's just easier to support people when you love them. And I love Sherry Moo. So that's my pitch about them. They probably don't even listen to this, but if they do, love you. And we had a great time this weekend. But Anna Grace and I have known that we were going to come on this trip for a while. We also knew after Coachella, we knew that we would have a deep, deep aversion to the idea of going exactly back 2 weeks later to do another festival. And here's what happened. The time rolled around and we thought, oh my God, this is fucking a lot. It's a lot. But what we did different this time, and I wish she was here with me to recap this. It feels wrong without her, but she is on the road with Coach. We love that for her. They need some time together. She's been away a lot, so we're going to let her have her time with a baby boo and she'll be back. But so what we did differently this time was we flew directly into Palm Springs. So I don't know if you guys remember from Blockchella episode, but we talk about how we flew into LAX and then you have a 3.5 hour drive to Palm Springs, which is just like a lot. And we rented a car, et cetera, et cetera. So flying straight into Palm Springs with a 30-minute drive into Indio Desert, it really just makes things a lot easier. It makes things a lot less stressful. So that already was just great right on the front end. Then I get to the airport and some of my best friends, Summer Party and John Party, who I brought up on this podcast, who you guys really want to see on the podcast, Summer, I will get her on here, I promise. They were on our flight. So we're like, this is fantastic. We're like, what a vibe. Immediately, yes, we're in. And the flight there was not at a crazy time. It was like 4 p.m. So Anna Grace shocked me. This is how, I'll set the scene. We had a great day. We wake up, we have breakfast. Anna Grace gets to my house at 12. I film an Instagram ad for my lawn, which honestly, I know that feels like off kilter for me, and I don't know if I just used that word correctly at all whatsoever, but the ad was presented to me, and as you guys know, like, I'm such a fucking sellout. I'll do literally anything for money. I fucking love money, and mama's got to buy some furniture, you know what I mean? These buccal chairs don't come for free unless you sell buccal chairs and you want to give them to me for free, in which case I will absolutely be open to the opportunity. But ads, I tried to do when they make sense to me. Like, if you guys saw me do fucking tight tummy tea, you'd be like, bitch, we know you're not drinking that. And I'd be like, I know. And that's just stupid. And I just like don't want to be that fake, right? But I call myself a sellout in the sense that I'm like, I'm just going to do it all. Like, I'll do it all until it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Something you guys gave me a lot of shit for was the boiled eggs. And I fucking ate those boiled eggs. I loved the boiled egg company. You dipped them in a seasoning pack. They never wanted to work with me again, which is absolutely fucking like diabolical because I gave them the best content of their lives. I also actually paid real money for them to be sent to my mom's house, like, cause she loves boiled eggs. And then Okay, so there's a motorcycle that just passed by. I don't even know if you just heard that in the audio, but I have a lot to say about moving vessels and the sounds they make later in this episode. Okay, so yeah, I paid for the subscription for my mom, and she kept getting them, and she goes, Shannon, please stop the subscription. I have just too many eggs. And I was like, okay, sorry. Anyways, all that to be said, things might not seem right on par for me, but I like a lot of things that I promote that may seem a little funny. And one of these things was lawn care, because they had this fucking part of it that was like called mosquito delito. And I was like, I fucking hate mosquitoes. Honestly, I wish I could have cussed in this ad, because I would have gone full fucking force on the hatred I have deep inside my soul for mosquitoes, because I just hate them. So anyways, Anna Grace gets here. I'm like, hey, I need you to help me record this lawn ad. She's like, bitch, we're just moving casually. You know, we get to the airport an hour and a half early. Anna Grace says to me, she says, let's get a drink before the flight. I said, you're crazy, girl. You're crazy. And that's just very unlike her. So I was like, let's get twisted before the flight. Yes, ma'am. I always have to tell people she has like diabetes or something. I'm like, I'll be having a double. She's pregnant. They're like, no, she's not. She's okay. You're just like drinking too much. So anyways, we go to Tootsie's in Nashville airport. There's a Tootsie's in the airport that has like live singers and everything, which is pretty cool. And we go to Tootsie's. We have ourselves a stiff drink. Then we get another stiff drink. And I'm like, Anna Grace, you're crazy. We get on the flight. We see Summer. We see John. So no one was allowed to know that Summer and John were going technically. Or it's not that they weren't allowed. It was just he was coming on stage during Stagecoach as like a surprise performer. So we have a drink with them. We get on the plane. Everything's great. Anna Grace and we booked our flights a little bit later on. So we weren't seated. I was seated maybe I want to say 6 rows between us. She was behind me 6 rows. And then I was seated closer to like Summer and John, but still not even really near them. And then I don't know. I'm just like, we're grown ass adults. We're not going to be like, oh, we had to find someone to switch with us. Like that would be great. And honestly, if we saw the opportunity, but we both had middle seats too. So like you can't convince someone to switch out of their seat to sit next to someone and offer them a middle seat. That's just like not proper airplane etiquette. And if someone asked me to switch out of my aisle or window to go to a middle, I would be like, I need to see your baby, and I need to like see that the baby's even just upset. Like I don't even know if I'm doing this for like a happy baby. I need to see a sad baby before I'm switching to a middle seat. Anyway, so Anna Grace and we're just apart, and that's the point of the story that matters, because halfway through the flight, I'm listening to like, I don't know, fucking Jack Harlow or something. I'm like, first class, even though I'm literally in a middle seat in coach. I was like, up in the sky. And I am listening, and I see flight attendants like run by kind of fast, and I hear something through my AirPods. So I pause them, and they ask if there's like a medic on board. And I'm like, oh my God, what? This is crazy. And I was like, not taking joy in that, but I was just like, what is going on? What's the T? What's the 411? I want to know the gossip. And so I text Anna Grace, and I'm like, bitch, did you fucking hear that? They just asked for a medic on board. Like, do you see anything? I'm looking around. I don't see anything. She doesn't text back. I'm like, that's weird. And then probably like 10, 15 minutes later, I get a tap on my shoulder from the flight attendant. And she's like, hi, is your friend seated in row 25? And I go, oh. And then it obviously clicked immediately. Plus, if Anna Grace was here, she would confirm the fact that the girl just has like so many ailments. Like something is always happening to her. Right. So I'm like, oh my gosh. So I was like, okay, yes, that's my friend. What's happening? And I went into immediate like defense mode. Like, I'm not even being funny about this. It very much like concerned me. I was like, what's going on? And they were like, she has fainted. And I was like, luckily, but not luckily, I do know that she has a heart condition and that she has fainted on planes before. Anna Grace would be better at saying the word. It's something, I'm going to mess up the diagnosis word, so I'm not going to say it, but it's something that basically it can happen even more so when she's in higher elevation. So she passes out, faints on the plane. She's lost her hearing. She's lost her eyesight. She literally is very panicked, and they're like, she's very panicked. She can't see or hear right now. Her vision is very blurry. So she keeps like saying, you'll know what to do. And I was like, okay, her feet need to be elevated. And she's like trying to elevate her feet, but she doesn't really know how to. She said the lady beside her was so nice and so calm and was like, Anna Grace, what's your name? My name's Candace. You're going to be okay, Anna Grace. She was like, the lady had kids and was just like, she was like, was the best person ever that could be seated next to me, because she was just so calming. And I was like, oh, I'm just so sad that I wasn't there. She was like, it's okay. But long story short, she was okay. We got off the plane. we had a 20-minute connection, but it was in where did we connect? Dallas. The Dallas airport. I don't know if you're from Dallas, but it's a big fucking airport. And we had to get somewhere very far away. And Summer and John are texting us being like, the doors are closing in like 5 minutes. Because the second we got off the plane, Anna Grace had to lay down, elevator feet, and like, also, what the fuck do I look like being like, Anna Grace, come on, grab your shit. We got to catch our next flight. It's like, no, bitch, I'm worried about my friend. So I'm like, okay, what do we have to do? I'm like, let's make sure she's okay. Let's lay her down. Like, let's get the feet elevated. I mean, if we're in the middle of a gate, so like everyone's just like staring at us. And I'm like, she has circulation issues and a heart problem. Fuck off. And everyone's like, okay, relax. No one's staring at you. You are obsessed with yourself. So I have her legs in the air. I'm putting on all of her baggage. And I basically tell her, if you want to stay in Dallas tonight and go to the festival tomorrow, or just fucking go home, I will do anything you want to do. I'm not pressuring you to do anything. Let's just relax. The only thing I'm just going to say to you currently right now, the option is on the table to still make it to Palm Springs. And we do have 12 minutes to get to the gate. And the gate is 17 minutes away via my app. But I'm going to put all your luggage on me. I said, I'm going to be the pack mule, and I'm going to rally through, and I'm going to be the husband on this trip. Okay. Give me all your shit. And she, of course, Anna Grace is in there. She's like, no. It's okay. I have so much stuff. I'm like, hand it to me now. So I'm just like trudging through the airport. I'm sweating out of every orifice. I'm sweating out of spots in my body I didn't even know could sweat. Like, who knew the top of your nose and the inside of your nose? I'm pretty sure sweating. So, we're walking, and I'm texting Summer like, no worries if not. But could you tell them to hold the flight for us? We're coming. We just had to get her like blood. She was cold as ice. Like her blood pressure or heart rate was so low. Like, she was gray. I could barely find a fucking pulse on her. I was trying to be calm. And listen, if you're listening to this podcast and you know me at all, you know I'm not like, could you imagine anyone describing me as like a calming person? Like, oh, when I'm around Shannon, I just feel calm. Like, no, not really. But I'm telling myself, like, don't be like, are you okay? Do you need anything? Give me your stuff. I was like, don't be panicked. Just really try in all of your acting capability. Just try to be the calming force that she needs right now. So I'm trying to be that for her. And I'm like, just walk slower. Who cares? Do not walk fast. She's like, do we need to we got to go faster? I'm like, Anna Grace, it's gravy, baby. Let's just keep walking. It's okay. And so we're walking, but Summer's texting me like, bitch, it is not gravy, baby. They're about to close this gate. So anyways, we do make it. They held it for us, which was very nice. We get on the flight. We're also not sitting next to each other. So we're both in middle seats. I couldn't convince someone to switch. So I was going to ask some lady to switch with us, just like thought she might be nice if I said someone had a heart problem. Anna Grace was sitting in between a lady who, whenever I tapped her shoulder politely, she goes, I can't hear you. I have headphones in. And I go, oh, okay, thinking she's going to take them out. She just looked back at her movie. I was like, okay, the fuck? I was like, we're going to cross that one off the list. And Anna Grace goes, so we'll take that L. I was like, we're going to take that as an L. And then the guy sitting next to her was watching an oral surgery already on his iPad. I mean, it was so much blood. I couldn't even tell what orifice it actually was at first. And then we found out it was the mouth. Anna Grace said he did it the whole flight. I don't know if he's studying for med school, and I don't want to like fault him for that. But honestly, like, I'm very squeamish. I think I would have had to be like, please put that away. But then he probably would have been like, just don't look. But then I would have been like, I can't not look. Like, it would have been very troubling for me. She made it through the next flight. She was fine. Someone was ripping ass on the flight though, which I feel like should be illegal. Like, farting on planes, like, especially if they're going to be like hot, stinky, warm farts, like, you've got to cut that out. Like, that's just like, we're all stuck here. And that is just so, don't be farting on planes. Don't do it. Don't keep the toots to cars, to trains and other automobiles. Don't toot on planes. It's a scary time for all of us during COVID, and we don't want any of that. Okay. Also, you don't have to wear masks anymore on planes, but then some people do wear masks. And of course, me personally, like, if I don't feel sick, and I also know for sure I don't have COVID, I love the idea of not wearing masks on planes anymore. But it does feel like I'm a people pleaser to my core. The person sitting next to me has a mask on. I'm like, fuck, should I put a mask on to make them feel more comfortable? And I'm like, no, Shannon, do what you want to do. You respect their decision. I'm sure they respect your decision. But it's also just like, eh. And I honestly, I pulled a mask, my emergency mask, out of my purse during the second flight because people be tooting. People were rootin', tootin', and a disgrace on this flight. And I just think it should be illegal. And I'm going to bring up something else about moving vessels, because I posted on my Instagram. So I just moved into this house, and I have never lived this close to a train, I guess. And I cannot express to you how often this train blows its whistle louder than any train I've ever heard in my entire fucking life. Like, I can't express it to you. And I'm not even that close to the train, I don't think. So I think this man's just laying the fucking hammer down. And Yeah, it wakes me up from 2 a.m. and then wakes me up at 4 a.m. again. Usually I don't go to sleep before like 11 or midnight, but there also is one that goes on at 11, but I'm usually awake for that. And I'm just always like, wow, that's fucking loud. And I post something like on my Instagram. I'm like, I will put if you're a train conductor that goes through Nashville, like I will double your salary and put your kids through college if you just stop fucking blowing this horn. Okay. And here's my reasoning behind it. You got fucking lights that are flashing in your eyes. You got a bar that comes down that will not allow a car to pass unless they literally drive through it. Then on top of that, you have they have some sort of beeping siren that goes along with it. Then there's just there's signs that literally say like train ahead. And then here's the craziest concept of it all. There's a giant train coming your way. What if you are still driving through that? Then honestly, that's natural selection, my girl. Like, you just need to fucking go. And I say that, I'm like, this is like, why do we have the horn? Why do we have it? And of course, a couple people are like, I live in a small town. We don't have the bars that come down. We don't have the floodlights. I'm like, okay, the horn makes sense. But more so than that, I had a lot of people that said they lived in residential areas or neighborhood areas in different states. And they have this thing called no blow zone, which... I'm immature, so that made me laugh. And she's like, it's a no blow zone, and they don't blow them at certain times at night because it literally wakes up small children. So I'm like, okay, we got to get a no blow zone. But people were very pressed about that. People were, I don't know why I just said people. There was this one guy who was up in arms. He called me pancake ass privileged pillow time something. Honestly, the alliteration made me laugh. And then he called me a cunt at the end, which I just I think the word cunt is just so funny. I don't know if I was meant to be Australian or British, but cunt to me, if you call me a cunt, I literally could be spitting mad. I could be so furious. I want to punch you physically. And if you called me a cunt, it'll just lighten the mood. It'll just make me be like, oh fuck, now I'm giggling. This is funny. Cunt is so funny to me. So if you are a train, an advocate for trains, I'm just really sorry about it, but I don't like the horns. And one lady messaged me and said her husband was a train conductor, and dead ass, I'll try to screenshot and find it so we can put this in the YouTube video. She really said that her husband says when he goes through towns or parts of towns that he doesn't like, he lays on the horn really loud for longer than he has to. Because listen, I know the conductors have to do the horn. It's the law for them. But yeah, there are some where I could tell a little toot toot would do it, and they're giving us they're doing too much. So that's just honestly my true thoughts on trains. I don't know why. We're on a big vessel journey here. Let me go back to Stagecoach. Let's go back to that. So I'm trying to decide if I had a more fun time at Coachella or Stagecoach. I think the logistics had been planned out so much better for Stagecoach that I want to do Coachella like I did Stagecoach. I want to fly into Palm Springs. I want to have a house. I want to be in Indio because our house was in Indio, right? So it's the festival is 3 minutes away. So when we got our Uber, which sure took a little bit of time, but then you're 3 minutes away from home. It's so nice. So I would like to do that again. So I can't really pick which one was my favorite because I'm just a rap girly pop. I just love rap. I love pop music. I love country music too, of course. And I'm friends with a lot of country music people. So this was fun for me because it felt more welcoming and homey, and the people were just nicer. At Coachella, you were running into people that were on ecstasy. Ew, could you imagine? They sound so gross. I was not like this when I was on ecstasy, but you run into people who are just hammered, drunk, whatever. And I just don't know if the clientele was different for Coachella, but they're move, or they just wouldn't say anything. And then you're barely brushing someone's elbow at Stagecoach and sorry, darling, excuse me, pardon me, I'm so sorry. You okay? Oh my God. And I love that outfit. I'm like, what? Everyone here is so much nicer. I just felt more at home. Me, a Southern girl through and through. So, we go. And then here's another thing that changed it totally. The people that we hung out with before. So we did a lot more pre-gaming before. So, my girly pops that I love forever and ever, my LA YouTube fam, I'm not on YouTube other than this podcast, but they vlog and they do incredible stuff on YouTube. They're YouTubers, it's it's a breed. And TK, Alicia, we had Remy, I met this guy, Tristan, and his friend Channing, who I'm just obsessed with, Lexi, Taryn, everyone there was just fucking amazing. And I love them. And, if you followed me for a very long time, then you know that my obsession with average fashion blogger has been for probably 5 years. I hate to be this girl that's like, oh, I read the book before it was a movie, or like I listened to that band before they were mainstream. But like, I'm gonna be completely honest, like I've been a fan of Average Fashion Blogger way before she blew up. Like I was fucking obsessed with her, so I'm a true fan. And I met her at this house too for their pregame, and she's just like fucking so funny and so lovely and wonderful. And I forget sometimes that like people don't always have to be like on 24/7. And I was like I caught myself like waiting. I'm like, dance monkey dance, and like she's honestly just as chill as she is funny, which I appreciate that. So that was fun because we were having like our spirits were very lifted before we went into the festival, hanging out with all these people, right? And so then we get into the festival and I have a great time. Midland, iconic, and then John Party, who's like an incredible singer and performer as well, and a friend of mine. He came out on Midland's set. He came out during Thomas Rhett's set. It was just iconic. And then Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher were there, which like, let's just like take a second. She was wearing a t-shirt, and like I don't want to like speak on her behalf, but like I'm pretty sure she didn't have a stitch of makeup on, and it was just like she's the most beautiful human ever. She's also, I can't imagine like any taller than 3'11". Like she's so tiny. She's a tiny little girl. And Ashton Kutcher is so fucking hot. So I loved the performers for the first night. I didn't do any drugs at Stagecoach. I wish I had. Yeah, it just wasn't a drug girly pop on this one. There was no keeping someone locked inside the porta potty. There was none of that. Also, by the way, that was TK. I told TK, you guys got to check her out on Instagram and YouTube, TK Juicy Polls. She's hilarious. She's amazing. She also has a podcast as well. I was like, yeah, I was telling people how I locked you in the bathroom exit. She's like, did you say my name? I was like, no, I didn't know if you would want to be associated with the fact that like I did drugs. She was like, I wasn't doing drugs. I was like, I know, but I just didn't even know if you'd want to be associated. She's like, I don't care. That's hilarious. So yeah, shouts out to TK for still inviting me back to Stagecoach pre-games in her house. And then like not being like, this bitch was crazy. But when I did tell her, I told her this trip, I was like, I was on ecstasy. She goes, oh, that's so funny. Is that why you wouldn't let go of me? I was like, yes. She goes, I just hung out with you so many times and you're just not a clingy girl. And you weren't, she's like, don't get me wrong, I loved it. I was like, oh my God, Shannon is obsessed with me. We love it. But she was like, you're just not normally clingy. And you were like, really couldn't let go. And I was like, I know. It was the drugs. So anyways, that was just fun. But we go to Carrie Underwood the next day. I've never seen like it's just like, I know everyone talks about her legs and she's more than her legs. She's more than her legs, but fuck the legs. Like the legs are just, they're otherworldly. It's unconstitutional how fucking hot she is, how beautiful she is. We know Melissa Schleicher is an incredible hair and makeup artist, salon owner, and just badass that lives in town. And she does Carrie's hair and makeup, and she just crushed it. She looked incredible. Every song Carrie Underwood sang was incredible. I can't say enough good things about it. But let me tell you guys something. Here's the tea. Here's the 411. Okay. So I'm walking to the Ferris wheel, which if you understand the festival grounds of Coachella / Stagecoach / the Indio Desert where these take place, the festival Ferris wheel is very far away, fucking very far away. Okay. So I had to go there because I was doing an ad with Liquid IV and I had to truck it there in my boots and boot scoot over there. And when I got there, I was like, oh my God, this is so fucking far away. But it was interesting because I had a little bit more service and I'm looking on my phone and I'm like, guess who I just saw is at Stagecoach? And Anna Grace is like, who? And I'm like, Bridgerton. And she goes, oh, Shannon, don't open that can of worms again. I said, whoop, 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 bust open the can opener, baby, because I'm about to text him. And she was like, don't text him. And I was like, I'm not going to text him. I'm not going to do it, girl. I was just thinking about doing it. I'm not going to do it. I did it. My text him and was like, oh my God. Well, this should be noted that I did text him and say like, I did text him and be like, I think it was like 3 weeks ago I said something and he just left me on red, which is fine because like, honestly, we just have like a chill relationship. We're friends. So I just didn't care, but I was also like, okay. And then I was like, if I text him again though and he doesn't respond, that's embarrassing. So I texted him and I said, oh my gosh, you're at Stagecoach. And he didn't text back for like an hour. And then he texted and was like, yeah, are you here? And I was like, I mean, I could not be more active on social media. Like, what do you mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, yeah, I'm here. Duh. And I was just like, interesting that he wouldn't know that I was here. And then I actually thought to myself, does he have me like blocked or muted? Then I was like, nah, he wouldn't do that. So anyways, I texted him. He's like, yeah, we were both very casual. I'm like, oh my gosh, where are you guys staying? He's like, a house in India. I'm like, no way. Where? And he sends me the, like, he like sent me his location. And I was like, okay, here's what was absolutely confirmed that I was going to reopen the can of worms. He was staying 4 minutes away from me. Okay. So too easy. Just It's too easy. It's too easy. So I was like, what are the odds? We are staying just right up, just over the river and through the woods, just right around the corner from me, okay? And he was like, okay, cool. Yeah. He's like, well, let me know what you guys do after, whatever. I'm like, yeah, keeping it cool, keeping it blasé. Me, I'm like 100% I'm fucking this man as soon as I leave this festival, okay? And so if you recall from previous episodes, like it's some of the best sex I've ever had. So like, yeah, we gonna be fucking. So I go to the festival, we finish, we leave, and then we go back to my friend TK's house. TK and Alicia and everyone else, all the YouTubers that have this like fabulous house. That's also, they were staying like 5 minutes away from me. That's why I'm like, the logistics of this one was just so much better. I got to see Katie Austin again. I got to meet some of her friends. I just like loved this trip as far as like the time I got to spend with people. It makes walking into the festival and all the dust and all that shit so much better when you're like with your gang of people that you're like rocking with. I could not have sounded more like late 60s if I tried just then. Like your gang of people you're rocking with, like get the fuck out of here. Okay, so I go to their house and we're like deciding if we're gonna get in the pool. I feel like you guys might have seen on Instagram one of the days I was like very wet. I jumped in their pool at one point and then just like came back to my house where I was staying at, and all the Show Me Your Moo girls were like, why are you wet? And I was like, oh, I jumped in a pool. It's not as sexy of a story as it sounds. They were still awake like making quesadillas and I walked in like soaking wet and they were like, why are you wet? I was like, I don't know. Anyways, I get back to their house. I decide not to get in the pool, but here's the thing. I reapplied self-tanner. I'd put self-tanner on before I got to the second day festival. Because I was in TK and Alicia's hot tub for like 2 hours the night before. Let me tell you something about spray tan and hot tubs. Strips right off. If you can't get a crusty ass spray tan off, go in a hot tub, go in a sauna, something that just like will soak it off. Like that'll do it. So that next day on Saturday, I was like, I have got to retouch up my spray tan. So I put some like foam mousse on that like it's just not, I mean, it's just, you know, it's dicey out here in those parks when you're putting foam and mousse on. I was honestly like worried I was gonna sweat and it was just gonna like be all over everything. So I go, I'm gonna reapply self tanner, and I was sticky, smelly, maybe orange, I don't know, but it like I needed to be more tan than I was. Don't we always? Okay, I'm always trying to be tanner than I am, just always for the rest of my life. Honestly, my dad's got like Native American in his blood and he's like the shade of a mahogany dresser, and I'm just like, it's just pretty fucked up that we didn't get that gene. Like in the dead of winter, this man is tan, and my mom is like, I married a tan man because I wanted tan children. It did not happen. My sister has like black hair, blue eyes. My little brother has brown hair, brown eyes, and I have red hair and blue eyes, and we are all the palest motherfuckers I've ever met my entire life. Like all of us. I would even be happy if one of my siblings got it. You know, I'd be like, she made it out. She did it. She's got tan genes. None of us do. Okay. Irish as fuck. So yeah, I had the self tanner on, and I get to TK's and I'm telling him, me, an open book. I'm like, yeah, so Bridgerton's staying 4 minutes up the road. I'm probably gonna, I texted him and was like, oh, like, what are you up to? I think I texted him and was like, sir, I was like, hi, sir. And it didn't get delivered. But I mean, everyone's at Stagecoach and whatever, there's like no service. And then an hour later, I texted him and said, Mr. Sir. And then he didn't respond. And then I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna give this one more go. I was like, 30 minutes later, I was like, are you home yet? And then he was like, oh, sorry, I had put my phone in airplane mode at the festival. Yes, getting home. Like, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. Well, Anna Grace is taking an early flight. I really just hate to wake her up. Like, honestly, I would just hate to disturb her. Like, I'm trying to just be like a really good friend. Can I come over? And he's like, yes. I know what you're doing. Yes, you can come over. I'm like, cool. So I go over there, but before I go over there, I'm thinking to myself, and I'm telling TK, and I'm telling Lexi, and I'm telling Alicia, I'm telling Remy and all them. I'm like, hey, here's the thing. I got to go get dick down in Dallas. And they're like, yes, queen, fuck it up. And I'm like, okay, here's the thing. Can I take a hoe bath? And they're like, yes, abso-fucking-lutely. I'm like, can I literally use your shower? I'm at their home, you guys. I'm like, can I take off my clothes, take a shower here, dry off, put my clothes back on, do any of you have gum or mouthwash, and then I'm gonna go get dick down in Dallas. They could not have been more here for my bullshit. You know what I mean? Like they were just like, abso-fucking-lutely queen, no questions asked, yes. And I'm like, perfect. So I take my hoe bath. Because also I was like, I can't go over there reeking of self-tanner and dust and crusties. And like, I just need to like, I didn't think we were going to go over there and discuss the like Pythagorean theorem. I was like, I'm getting fucked. So I need to wash myself. Be clean. If you're going to have like random sex, be clean. So anyways, I take my bath. It was a shower. I don't know why I keep calling it a bath. But me and my friends always called them hoe baths back in college. And so yeah, I take my shower. I go over there, have a great time. His friend was there. Like, he was staying with some buddies. I met some of his friends, and like, they're just all hilarious. We had a great time. You know what I drank when I was over there? Because I didn't drink in the festival. And then walking that much just like gets you, I think I had like a tequila drink in the beginning of the festival. And then you're like watching the shows, and you're just like, you're not going to leave your spot watching the concert to like go get a drink. And then I thought like I'd like to meet up with Bridgerton, and like drinking and driving, absolutely don't do that. So I was just like, especially like at a festival and all this stuff, you can make all the excuses you want, like, it's only 4 minutes away. It's just don't do it. Don't do it. And so yeah, I was sober as shit, and I was over there, and I was like, I'm sober as shit, haven't done any drugs, on no alcohol, what the fuck? And so I was like, do you guys have any booze? And they were like, yeah. And it was whiskey. And I was like, listen, I'm like, live in Tennessee, which of course one of his friends was like, you're a Nashville girl. And I was like, not a big whiskey girl, TBH. And actually the hat I had on said tequila helps. He pointed at my hat. He said, I can see that. And I was like, yeah, not my thing. So anyways, he just started making me these delicious Kentucky mules is what they called them. It was like whiskey and like ginger beer and lemon. It was honestly, or lime, I don't fucking know. It was so good. But I think that whiskey drunk is a bit different. I felt sloppier is what I felt. I was like, ugh, all over the place. But also tequila is an upper. So like tequila is the only liquor that's actually an upper. So like maybe whiskey just like makes you feel like blah, blah, like loosey-goosey, fruity. So his friends go to sleep. Bridget and I, we have great sex. And then I leave the next morning. And honestly, I was so happy. It was great. I left my hat because his friend was really like sweet and was like, I want the tequila helps hat. And I was like, I'll leave it for you. I know a girl. I can get another one. Bridgerton was like, I want to wear the hat to the festival, but am I going to get like, I feel like people are going to walk up to me and be like, are you Bridgerton? Because I think like I fucked up, like I said before, with like the terminology, like the name, the pseudonym, the witness protection program for this particular kind soul was just, it was just too easy to crack. The code was not it wasn't tough. And you guys like found out who he was, and then now you will see him and be like, are you Bridgerton? So yeah, I was like, wear the hat, come on, it's worth being accosted, it's such a cute hat. So he wore the hat into the festival. I think he did anyways. And then the only thing is, so I don't know if you guys saw, I wore the second day, I put weave in. Obviously if you've followed me for the past like for a while, you know that I've had long extensions, weave my whole life, and then I cut my hair. And I just feel putting extensions in made me realize how much I'm just like a short hair girly pop. Like I feel so much more myself with short hair. Even when I put the weave in and it looked like beautiful and I felt like sexy cool girl, I still was like, oh my God, who is she? Like, this is not me. I did not feel like myself, which I don't know. I know we shouldn't put all of our like eggs in our basket with like haircuts, but I just feel like short hair is me. You guys let me know if you like short hair Shannon or long hair Shannon, whatever. I'm just like short hair for life, I think. Well, not for life, but like for right now, it's my vibe. And it was funny because like I told you guys, his friend was there. He was making me drinks. He was so fun, whatever. And then I go in the bedroom and I take my extensions out, which they were like down to my like asshole. Like they were so fucking long. I don't know why I just said asshole. Like I'm from fucking like Boston. Asshole. They were literally down to my boof hole. And I took them out because I was just like, they fucking hurt. Like I forgot how bad clip-ins. I had like a mound of them in my hair under a trucker hat. I took them out and I walked back out kind of like low-key forgetting, because I had already told Bridgerton, I was like, oh, he knows me. He was like, whoa, your hair. And I was like, those sugar bear hair gummies are crazy. And he was like, oh, you have extensions in, whatever. But his friend, I didn't update him on the hair length. And I walked out and he goes, also for the record, fucking men. Like I walk out and he goes, did you cut your hair? And I was like, yeah, that's the kink that me and Bridgerton are into. We love to cut hair while we fuck. And he was like, oh my God, why is your hair so short the next day? I was like, I took my extensions out. So the next morning he was very confused by that. Also the next morning I woke up, despite the hoe bath, like all precautions were taken. And I still woke up the next morning and was like, my guy, there is a clear shade of spray tan just absolutely all over your sheets. I'm so sorry. And he was like, it's okay. And I was like, it's probably not, but all right. We love him. He's a trooper. He's the fucking shit. So I go home. That was my Stagecoach experience. Honestly, it was great. I had a great time. I ran into Margot Austrie, who I also just love. I love that entire family. Like I'm such a stan of the Austries. It's crazy. Like toaster for life. Honestly, I've met so many more of you guys. They need like a sorority sign, because people will come up to me and be like, I'm a toaster, I loved you on it. And I'm like, what's your sign? Like what's like, when I was in sorority, we did like this, like a little like crown. Like I want to do like, what was like, we got to get a toaster. Is it just a box for a piece of toast? Like, is that what you do? I don't know. We're going to have to bring that up to them at the next meeting, because That's something they should have. But yeah, I don't know. I think like Stagecoach was a vibe. I was into it. I'll tell you what, I'm fucking tired. I'm real fucking tired. I go to New York tomorrow. And we're going to have producer Courtney come in next week, and we're going to try to film some really cool guests in New York. So if you guys have anyone that you want to see, let a girl know. Slide into my DMs and let me know who you want to see from New York. And then I'm also trying to stay in New York longer, just because, and I was telling Courtney before she got here, I was like, I finally got my house together in Nashville and it feels homey, and I come back here and it feels good, and all my stuff gets delivered to New York. I know I told you that in the Blockchella episode that I had that overpriced pod come, and I'm finally gonna have both places like better. And I feel like I haven't really like immersed myself into New York yet, maybe because I'm a little scared, because every time I go there I'm like, I don't know anyone and I have nothing to do. And it's like, that's kind of what you're supposed to do when you live in New York. You're supposed to feel uncomfortable, and that's how you become a New Yorker. No one would ever call me that in their literal lives. Like, everyone's gonna be like, you're such a fucking poser, you're not a New Yorker. But I think that's like what you do when you live there. You should feel uncomfortable. So I'm gonna try to stay there for most of May. So I want to be in New York for May. I'll tell you something though, and this is what makes me absolutely not a fucking New Yorker. If that shit starts getting down to 40, 30 degrees again, I'm gonna be back. I'm gonna be back in Nashville, because it is 75 and sunny here, y'all. It really is. My boat's still in the shop, so I still can't get on my boat. The fucking rats that ate my boat. Like, who does this happen to other than me? Nobody. Whose boat seats get eaten by rats? Mine. So honestly, like, I am gonna just chug this Red Bull. This glass looks like apple juice. These are juice glasses, and this is Red Bull and this is champagne. And I'm just like, I'm a fucking tired bitch. I'm just so tired, and I just really, I don't know if my brain is even like functioning. So this is gonna be a bit of a shorter episode. We're gonna come back. We're coming in hot. I'm gonna go to New York, and Courtney is gonna come. Producer Courtney is just her. She's immersing herself into New York as well. She was like, also, I love her. She was like, I don't mind staying with you if you want, but also if you're trying to get dick down in Dallas, like, I'm also happy to get a hotel. I was like, Courtney, we will be getting you a hotel. Not because I even want to get dick down in Dallas, but if the opportunity presents itself, I would love to. So yeah, hopefully that does happen, and I can talk about it all on the podcast. But we will be back. We will be back firing through with some great things. Like I said, I want a lot of guests in New York. So whoever you guys want to see, just don't do anyone that's already blocked me. You know what I mean? Because like, they're just not available to contact. So I love you guys. That was my Stagecoach recap. I need to just crawl into a hole and sleep. And this bun that I have my hair in right now is like yanking my eyes open. And I think that's the only reason I haven't fallen asleep during this podcast. I love you guys. I will see you. I am now cheersing myself. Goodbye.